No regrets.
No regrets.
No regrets. No regrets.
Fantastic.
Looks delicious, doesn't it? In today's video, we are going to try and tattoo marinade into meat. Guys, I have been left alone in the studio today and I have a new toy. I have a tattooing gun. So I'm not going to give myself a tattoo, but we do have something really, really fun that we want to try with it today. Not exactly the purpose it's meant for. Most people understand the basic idea of how a tattoo works. You take a needle with some ink on it, and it is more or less pushed underneath the surface of your skin to allow the coloring of a tattoo. We're not going to use it necessarily for only coloring today. I want to try it on some meat. This is gonna be kind of strange, you guys, but I want to see if you can marinate meat by tattooing it. Here's the basic idea. We have a new tattoo gun in the studio and we want to try and use it for some ill-advised purposes. We're going to try and see if we can tattoo marinade and flavoring into chicken, pork, and steak. This is actually something that is done sometimes with Thanksgiving turkeys and other things like that. They have turkey basters that are syringes, and you can actually inject flavoring into meat. Well, this isn't nearly as big as that. We have these much, much smaller little needles, but I thought it might be interesting to see if you could design your meat before cooking it or just use it for adding flavor. So these are tattooing inks. It's very, very high pigment that is safe to be injected into your body. It's not food grade, however. So this isn't what we're necessarily going to be using for our meat today. We are going to be using food dye. It'll be a little bit different. Now, one of the things I'm actually curious about, not just flavoring, I want to know if we can make meat look more presentable. I want to try and actually use some red dye and see if we can make our steak look even brighter. Along with coloring, we also have flavoring. Now that's going to be the whole point of this, to see if we can inject 3 different flavors into 3 different kinds of meat. And then Nate actually suggested this. We have some liquid smoke here, and that's actually going to be delicious. So we'll probably try injecting that into some chicken as well. This is a tattoo gun. It is frankly terrifying. It has a foot pedal and it has a dial that allows you to choose just how fast your needle is going to be going. And I'm controlling that with a little foot pedal down here. All right, let's take a look at these needles. Now, everything is clean, sanitized, food safe. I'm not necessarily worrying about keeping everything sterile because we are prepping food, it should be clean. But it's not the same as injecting ink into my own skin. So I'm not as concerned with that with putting the gloves on yet. Should be okay. This particular type of tattooing gun is kind of interesting. I have seen a lot of these where there's ink that filters down through the cartridge. This one you actually dip into the little ink pot, and when you turn this on, I have this turned way up high. You can actually choose the depth of your needle so that you don't, the idea is so that you don't hurt the skin of your patient, customer. So I can have this needle go very, very, very low, so it would hardly press into the skin. So let's go ahead and try this with the ink first, just to kind of give you an idea of the way it's supposed to work. And I've actually found that using chicken breast works as a pretty great analog for skin. So before we start with flavoring, let's just try tattooing. It's not going to be quite the same because we obviously don't have dermis or the skin itself. But it's still going to puncture the flesh, and that's kind of what I want to see happen. And you can use some sort of Vaseline for this. I didn't have it, so I'm improvising with my Vaseline chapstick. Cocoa butter. It's going to be great. And let's go black and yellow. And we're going to do something called riding the tube, which is where you let the tube rest on the flesh or the skin, and you let that sort of be your anchor as you go along to get a straighter line. Obviously, this isn't how you would do this at a tattoo parlor, but hey, it works. No part of this should be happening in a tattoo parlor. And there we go, our very own tattooed piece of chicken. Very much not edible anymore. All right, guys, this is very, very entertaining, but I am actually really excited. I want to try to see if we can put marinade in our tattoo gun and tattoo some flavor into meat. Let's try it out. So this steak looks pretty okay. Nate is the connoisseur of steaks here in the studio. I just went ahead and grabbed one that looked all right on the shelf. but I think we can make it look a little bit better. I want to see if we can make it look a little bit more red, so it looks a little bit more appealing. Is that cheating? Probably. Let's try it with some liquid smoke. I really like that idea that Nate had. I was going to try it with A1 sauce, but I feel like this is gonna be a better flavor overall. See how it's still transparent? Tattoo ink is not transparent, so we're going to kind of make it as thick as we possibly can. That's interesting. So it is possible to still see the logo, but I think with a brand new George Foreman, you're getting a little bit more of a crust than you would, so it's a little bit more smeared than we would have liked. Let's see if this works. Okay. I did that. That's the thing I've done now. Let's see what the lines look like first off. Okay, that's gonna be all right. I wanna try and make a piece of meat look truly revolting, like it's gone bad, but it's actually delicious when you bite into it. So we're gonna try that with our pork. I've got some lovely green and yellow ink. I regret this already. First off, yep, this is gonna be delicious. That color is called juniper green, so it sounds beautiful, but it's not looking beautiful. Guys, it looks like the red started to smear a little bit, so let's take that out. Already looks nasty. Good. Let's go. Okay, yeah, this is holding up much better already than the steak. So first off, our chicken. Now, the chicken, you might remember, was actual tattoo ink, so it's not edible. I just want to see how far in the color goes. Kind of shows you how far it goes into your skin. All right, that's not very deep. That color is very much still on the surface. Well, I guess that's the whole point. It doesn't need to go very deep for a lot of color to show through. Well, let's take a look at our mom steak. It's not cooked all the way through yet, but it does look like the color actually bled through deeper. Again, because this isn't skin. I am gonna be throwing this one back on the grill because I do want to actually cook it so that it's edible and see if the flavoring came through just like our pork chop. That looks vile, which is the whole point. It's supposed to look vile, but on the inside, it's still really, really good. See if the flavor came through. It's very hot, but that is a smoked pork cutlet. That is so good. That's hilarious. Guys, it worked. You can make flavored tattoos on your meat. We've got our second chicken breast tattooed. Now let's just see if boiling it will actually keep the color on it better than grilling over the top of it. All right, so it looks like the color is already starting to leach off. You can kind of see that happening. Well, guys, baking and boiling, while boiling might not be the most flavorful way to cook chicken, baking, if you were to put a nice sauce on it or something, works really well. You can, in fact, tattoo your dinner if you wanted to. I don't know why you would, but it was pretty fun to find out. If there's anything else you want to see me do with the tattoo gun, not giving myself a tattoo, let me know in the comments below.
I mean, the ink took beautifully. Is that actual tattoo ink?
No, this is food.
Coloring?
That's food coloring.
Food? Can I tattoo my salad?
Guys, if you like this kind of content, remember we've always got more for you to see. Make sure to hit that box up at the top to see our most recent video, and we'll see you in the next one. Talk to you then.